Addy soldiers, happy Valentine's Day if that's something that you take part in or celebrate. I personally am more of a February 15th kind of girl, because that's when all that chocolate is on sale. I mean, it's great having a loving partner and all, but I also love a good deal, if you know what I mean. I have filmed this video 4 times. That's 5. This is the 5th time. I'm losing my goddamn mind over here. I give up. If this video doesn't turn out well, screw it. I've rewritten my script like twice. I've added in stuff. I've subtracted. I did this like giant deep clean edit of this stupid video and I'm over it. This video is what's going up and I hope it goes well. Welcome to the chaos that is my mind. I've been talking to some of my fellow book bloggers and we were ranking love interests in that, like, this person's better than this person, and like, but this person's not quite as good as that person, and like, I would definitely go out with that person, but not that person. They suck. I've also kicked around the idea for a long time about like ranking love interests or like who would I date amongst the YA love interest community, and so I thought because it's now, you know, the month of love and Valentine's Day, which actually is a holiday that has nothing to do with like Cupid, because Cupid isn't even Cupid. Cupid isn't even a cherub. He's a is it Puto or Pucci? It's like P-U-C-C-I. He's not even a real angel. I don't have time for a holiday that uses capitalism to make people feel bad about their relationship statuses. Let's move on. Also, right away, I'm going to apologize on how heterosexual this list is. For a couple reasons. First of all, I tend to not read a lot of contemporary, and I find the majority of queer stories are in contemporary. Another thing is that the majority of the queer girl books that I've read, I don't tend to enjoy. I'm not sure why. I tend to like queer adult women characters in adult fantasy novels rather than in a YA setting. Third of all is that my brain does this stupid thing where when a character is a main character and not just specifically the love interest, they don't exist to me as a love interest. So I don't know why my brain wrote that like workaround, but it did. So I tried really hard to pull some people that are a love interest in a book to somebody else even if they are the main character. And, you know, we'll try. Because I tried to get both guys and girls on this list. Because, you know, I'm an equal opportunity lover and we love some representation. Without further ado, and in no particular order, let's go over a list of YA love interests and figure out if I would date them. First up on this list is a classic for a girl who has red hair and wants to visit another world. And that is Jace from the City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I mean, come on, like, I am Clary. Just, I'm gonna project all of my hopes and dreams for a relationship onto Jace. He's knowledgeable about ancient weapons. He has cool tattoos, can take care of your demon problem. Plus, I think that I would handle meeting Jace and learning about this other world below our own with magic and shadow hunters like way better than Clary took it. Like, I already wear a lot of black. I have knowledge of like fairy folklore. Can't wield a sword, but like we can figure it out. I would be a better partner to Jace. That being said, easily grumpy, easily jealous, and was under a curse for an amount of time, which for me is like kind of a red flag. He's just an angstren teenager who doesn't know how to deal with his inner demons and takes out verbally on other people instead. I'm gonna make my younger self so sad with saying this, but I don't think I would date Jace. He just needs to grow up a little bit. Next up is a double whammy because we cannot have a YA fantasy series without having a love triangle, and so I have 2 particular love interests to critique this Valentine's Day. The Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare has 2 dreamy love interests in the case of Will Herondale and Jim Carstairs. Let's just start with Will, because I know everybody wants me to anyway. Besides being a Victorian snack, Will is handy with a sword, he has a knowledge of fantastical diseases, and he'll talk literature with me. Very important. Give me a man who can quote Dante's Inferno over someone who can fix a car any day. However, he doesn't like ducks. He was also under a curse for a significant amount of time. I guess it runs in the family. And because he was under that curse, which was a curse that he thought that everybody who loved him would die, he probably is gonna come with a lot of attachment issues. And I would definitely be more comfortable if we both got checked for demon pox before we had any kind of romantic intimacies. So I would date Will. But I would ask that he go to therapy first. And then the other character that we have to talk about is Jem, who... oh, my Silver Prince cinnamon roll. Jem is kind, he's caring, he loves his friends, friendship is very important to him, which I can get behind. He's very pretty, you know, I love me a pretty boy, and he can play an instrument, specifically the violin, which, like, that is my kryptonite. I want a man who can play violin strings, not my heartstrings, you get me? But he's also addicted to demon drugs that are slowly killing him, which, I don't know about you, but that's kind of a deal breaker for me. Ooh, C. I was gonna say I don't even date people that smoke cigarettes, like any kind of drug use is out of the question. but I just realized that I have chronic pain, and I've been on some hardcore drugs before. Maybe drug use isn't out of the question? I don't know. You know, I maybe would date Jim, but under very particular circumstances. Like, maybe if you weren't addicted to demon powders, sort of thing. Alright, next up, let's do a girl. And originally, when I picked up Six of Crows, I was gonna do Kaz, because I'm like, everyone's loving him, especially now that the new Shadow and Bone trailer just came out. I'm like, ooh, can't wait for that. Kaz, you had better pluck somebody's eye out on screen, or so God help me, I am writing a very angry letter to those producers. Like, yeah, he's a good rags to riches story, runs the crows, can steal anything, including your heart, maybe literally, but he's also like a little bit of a sociopath, and he's definitely killed a lot of people, so... Then I thought, there are other female characters in this series. What about Inej? Because Inej was technically Kaz's love interest. See, this is where my brain did that, like, big, like, it made it all the way around. It took a while, but it made it there. So Inej, from Six of Crows, is next up on this list. She's got the speed and strength of a nat 20. She's very beautiful, can teach me how to use a sword. Important detail. Oh my god, I love a woman with a sword. I love a man in a suit and a woman with a sword, and literally anybody on the gender spectrum between that wearing both a suit and a sword. However, she's very tiny. I might misplace her. Like, the height difference might be okay, because I have a good, I don't know, at least 4 to 6 inches on her. So, like, we'd be cute together, but at the same time, she's too resourceful. Like, I feel like I could never hide Christmas presents from her. There would be no surprises. Then again, she literally could straight up murder me, and I would thank her for it. So, I don't think I would date Inej, but I would definitely crush on her from a distance, if or when I ever got a glimpse of her. Next up is one of the OG YA love interests, again part of a love triangle, but we're only counting one because I hate the other one, and that is Maxon from The Selection by Kira Cass. Maxon is one of the best characters in this series, honestly, and his other, what's the other love interest name? Alec? Aaron? Aspen. I remember a time where if you were Team Maxon or Team Aspen, that was a deciding factor in friendship, and I have always been Team Maxon. I mean, yeah, he's like hot and rich, but he also like genuinely cares about his status and like helping the lower classes, and like understands his privilege. Like, oh my gosh, we love a self-actualizing prince. But his family sucks. And he has some relationship attachment issues that come up way too fast in the relationship, and I just don't have time for insecure men. Maxon, you deserve better than America, but sure as hell don't deserve me. I would not date you. Now, this love interest is a wild card, and I truly still don't know how I feel about her. I just know that I have strong feelings towards her. It's kind of like, do I want to be you or be on you, you know? And that is Sadie from Aurora Burning by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Sadie is a character we're introduced to in this book, and oh, she is probably a psychopath. She can take out a squadron by herself, which, like, mad props. She's very resourceful, problem solver. She wears a lot of black lipstick, and I'm a fiend for that aesthetic. Now, see, she is very opposite of what I usually look for in a partner. However, this could be, like, a big opposites attract kind of thing. Yeah, hear me out. Okay, so like you see me and I'm on an armchair drinking tea with a blanket, and then she comes in the door and she's like black leathers, head to toe in someone else's blood, like with a sword over her shoulder or like a blaster or something, and I'm like, hey, don't you track someone else's blood on my new carpets, ha ha ha, and then we like have a little giggle, and she goes upstairs, has a shower, she comes back downstairs, and then we cook dinner together while she makes jokes with knives. That's some cute-ass queer girl relationship shit right there. Sell that to Netflix. Like, yeah, she's a psychopath, but she's my psychopath, you know? Ultimately, I do think that Sadie would be a little too dangerous for me personally. She seems like she has a very exciting life, and I'm just not about that. I am an introvert at heart. Alright, this next love interest, I can 1000%, ow, just smack myself in the face. I can 1000% imagine myself dating, and so I might be like a little biased on this one, but that is Gansey from The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Gansey's the kind of guy that if I said, let's build a library full of ancient manuscripts, you know, he'd be down. Gansey is a true king. Like, he's smart, he's resourceful, he's good to his friends, he's rich, that helps out a lot. He genuinely tries to do his best. Like, he doesn't always land it, but I do appreciate the effort. Even his bad qualities aren't that bad in my opinion. Like, yeah, he might try and buy your affection, which, like, I can live with. Books are expensive. He's also a little obsessed with dead things, but then, like, so am I. He does wear offensively bright polo shirts. That might be something that we have to work on as a couple. And like, hand over the boat shoes or so help me. God, there is some innuendo here about exploring caves with a sword. and I'm not gonna make it, but I really want to. 100%, if Gansey asked me out, I would say yes. In fact, I might ask him out. That's how much I want this to happen. Another OG love interest that I love so much, she's one of my absolute favorites of this series, and that is Dorian from Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Dorian is a soft boy, TM, and I love him. No, he's only a love interest for Selena for the first book, but I had this crackpot theory that, like, by the end of the entire series, everybody would be dead except for them, and then they'd have to get together. He's a prince, so like money, riches, all that jazz. Very compassionate, he likes dogs, and he's got some magic hands that could be used to build a foundation to a relationship. But he needs to clean his room. And he did get taken over by a demon at one time. Could you imagine our shared living space? It would just be discarded piles of black clothing, forgotten cups of tea, books everywhere. Overall, I gotta say, no to Dorian. He gets a little weird in the later books, so just like Selena, I think he'd be a fun fling. Because we did Dorian, we have to do Sarah J. Maas's other ridiculously good-looking love interest, and that is Rhysand from A Court of Thorns and Roses. Rhysand has 3 things going for him, and that is that he's tall, dark, and handsome. I say even 4 things, because Lord of the Night Court, Fairy King, yes please, and he has magical powers that include, but are not limited to, telepathy, flight, shadow magic, being really good at sex. But I don't care how many abs you have or how many courts you rule. Pushing boundaries is not an acceptable thing to do in a relationship. Plus the telepathy thing is kind of weird and would not be good for us in general. Like, I like to think I'm an intelligent person, but I am so dumb, and I feel like after a couple days hearing the thoughts that are going up in here, Rhysand would just be like, I can't do it anymore. Rhysand could show me how big the wingspan is, but I don't think we'd work out long term. I would need to find another fairy prince to court me if I wanted to truly make this a lifestyle change. And the last person is a girl that I have such a crush on because I just finished this series. It was so good. Bridget Kemmerer, you did not let me down with a bowl of Liamara is a very well-spoken lady who shows up in A Heart So Fierce and Broken and then just gets even better in A Vow So Bold and Deadly. And she is a badass politician who genuinely wants peace. Like, she might stab you, but at least she'll ask nicely before she does. The character with such nuanced emotions and, like, she doesn't want to do the hard things, but at the same time, she, like, gets shit done, and I respect that. I have a very busy schedule these days, and we stand a person who's willing to respect deadlines. We would be such a power couple if we got together. Like, neither of us need a man, but maybe we need each other. However, big con is the fact that she's already deeply in love with a man that I just can't top. And yes, I do mean that in both ways that you're thinking. Liamara? More like Liam marry me, am I right? God, I'll see myself out. So there you have it. There is a list of love interests from YA books that I would or would not date. This has shown me anything. It's that people on dating apps need to step their game up. Like, why do I want to go out with you, who is working a dead-end minimum wage job and holding up a fish in their profile, when I could be going out with some dark magic prince who has, like, the ability to teleport? Like, you need to get your shit together. Please leave down below if you yourself would date any of these love interests, or leave me down below which love interest at all that you would date. I realize now that there's not a single contemporary on this list, but that's also because this stack right here, that's it. It's all the contemporary that I saved. Oh, there's a couple over there too, but like, they barely count. So if you have any good, like, real world contemporaries, particularly queer girl contemporaries that have good love interests, let me know. Maybe that'll make me fall in love with some books where characters are dealing with real world problems, but like, it sounds so boring. I have my own weird real world problems to deal with. Once again, happy Valentine's Day if that's something that you're gonna be doing. And if not, you know, use this opportunity to treat yourself, you know? Buy that book that you really want. Go and buy yourself flowers if that's something that you like. Maybe you can go buy fake flowers because they're gonna love you forever. Bake yourself that triple chocolate cherry red velvet monstrosity that you've seen on Pinterest. It's like this Valentine's Day dessert. Just do it, because like, I'm planning on eating an entire box of chocolates to myself. Don't tell my boyfriend. You know where to click to like the video. You know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!